Uncle Jack has moved into a bigger house which my parents paid for because they wanted me to be comfortable. However, instead of giving me a nice room there, I got to stay in the storage room. When we moved into the house, I found myself in a very spacious room upstairs. I took a liking to it again and wanted to be there. So, I went to meet Uncle Jack, but his reply was a block to my excitement.
Quite bold of you to think that you'll have any decent room here. Boy, you're going to the room beside the kitchen, the storage room.
Uncle Jack, that room is so small it can barely fit 3 people. It doesn't even have an AC. How do I survive there?
You will, trust me. I'll get you a small fan and even help you paint the room. You should be appreciative of that. This is why Steven is better than you. He appreciates everything I give him.
My parents left me in the care of my uncle when I was only 3 years old. My Uncle Jack was my dad's elder brother. He has a son, Steven, who was born 2 months after me. My parents were only newlyweds when they had me. They hadn't planned to have a child just yet, but I'd come in, and there was no way they could get rid of me. They never even thought about it. However, parenthood wasn't as easy as they thought. My parents were very busy people. While my dad owned 2 fabric companies, my mom ran a cosmetic brand, which was nearly as successful as my dad's popular companies. Due to their busy schedules, they hardly ever had time for me. It made them feel so sad that they got me a nanny to provide the love they couldn't give me. However, the nanny ended up being a bad woman who barely took care of me, so she was fired. 3 more nannies were employed and fired before my parents finally decided to seek help somewhere else. That was when my uncle stepped in.
Why did you take so long to ask me? Junior is also my son. I'll be more than willing to help in taking care of him.
My parents had been so happy to hear my uncle accept to take care of me. They got onto the next available flight and left Italy to America, since that was where Uncle Jack lived. I was left in his care while my parents returned to Italy 2 days later. Honestly, at the time, I didn't think too much about their departure. It wasn't the first time they were leaving me in the care of someone. Uncle Jack had treated me well for the first week, until his fake kindness ran out and his true colors surfaced. Whenever my parents sent gifts and money, they made sure to include something for Steven. But, because Uncle Jack was so greedy, he would take my things and keep them for Steven. Only a quarter of the things for Steven would come to me. Sometimes my uncle would deliberately starve me for a day or 2, even though there was food at home, and I did most of the house chores at a young age. By the time I clocked 10, Uncle Jack has moved into a bigger house which my parents paid for because they wanted me to be comfortable. However, instead of giving me a nice room there, I got to stay in the storage room. When we moved into the house, I found myself in a very spacious room upstairs. I took a liking to it again and wanted to be there. So, I went to meet Uncle Jack, but his reply was a block to my excitement.
Quite bold of you to think that you'll have any decent room here. Boy, you're going to the room beside the kitchen, the storage room.
Uncle Jack, that room is so small it can barely fit 3 people. It doesn't even have an AC. How do I survive there?
You will, trust me. I'll get you a small fan and even help you paint the room. You should be appreciative of that. This is why Steven is better than you. He appreciates everything I give him.
I wanted to say that Steven only appreciated it if he got anything without needing to shout. When it was Steven's turn to choose a room, he picked the exact one I picked earlier, and Uncle Jack smiled at him.
You're so respectful, my boy. I'm glad you're learning so many good things instead of complaining and talking back to your elders.
On my 15th birthday, 12 years after my parents left me in the care of my uncle, they visited America again. They'd finally found time to visit me. I was so happy. My parents didn't abandon me. They called me every week, sent enough money for my upkeep, even sent pictures of them, and requested for mine too, which my uncle always sent. He never let me lack food, because he couldn't afford making me look unhealthy. He also bought me new clothes, specifically for video calls with my parents. Seeing all of that, my parents never suspected him. The day my parents were supposed to visit, my uncle moved my things into one of the nicest rooms in the house which I had to stay. I was shocked. When they came, I was filled with excitement. My uncle drove Steven and I to the airport to pick them. When they hugged me for the first time in 12 years, my parents burst into tears. I couldn't help but cry too. I tried to tell my parents what was going on, but they didn't believe me because of how they saw my uncle treating me, as well as the room and laptop I had been given the day before. Well, They stayed with me for a whole week, and that was the best week of my life. My dad told me he already established another company, and my mom now ran a whole fashion house. I got to know that they'd also written their wills, and I owned everything. The mistake they made, however, was saying all of that in front of Uncle Jack. After they left, he spoke to me.
Don't think I'll ever let you alone have all of that property. Don't even imagine it, got it?
Of course, I told him I understood. My life without my parents resumed. After my 14th birthday, I began getting bullied at school. I would tell my uncle, but how could I possibly tell him Steven was also part of my bullies? I was getting drained emotionally with no one to speak to. I had no friends because Steven had spread filthy rumors about me to everyone.
He's nothing but a pauper. My dad sponsors him, and that's the only reason he's here. No one should go close to him.
Well, my parents were the ones sponsoring both of us, and he only attended that school because of me, and not the way he'd twisted it to be. But who could I tell? No one would believe me. Steven used all the great gadgets and outfits my parents bought me, while I had to wear and use hand-downs. The time my classmates completely blacklisted me was when Steven had made me wear his shoes, only to lie to them that I'd stolen them.
Wear the shoes, okay? Just look good today, and make sure you avoid me, so no one thinks in the direction that the shoes are mine.
When he said that to me that morning, I was so happy and thought Steven was finally starting to like me. But when he came to me in class with his friends, I was embarrassed badly.
You've been hiding from me all day because you stole my shoes? How pathetic of you, Junior.
Not only had they taken the shoes from me and made me walk around with just socks, they'd also beaten me up badly after school. Of course, my uncle had seen my wounds, but he cared less to ask. When I clocked 16, I was already fed up and wanted nothing more than to be with my parents. I was tired of living with my uncle and his son. Uncle Jack had even made me get a job at a restaurant where I had to deal with my wicked boss. He abused me even more than Uncle Jack and Steven did. He would hit me at the slightest mistake, insult me in front of customers, and make me work so hard for the meager salary he paid. One day, while I was doing my shift after school, Steven had visited the restaurant with his friends with the sole aim of mocking me. I approached their table to ask what they wanted, and they kept making me go back and forth, ordering things one at a time instead of making a straight order. They kept laughing loudly at their table. My boss forced me to go warn them twice, but I received 2 slaps the both times I went to warn them. After they'd finished eating, they refused to pay. I was caught unaware when they ran out of the restaurant, laughing mockingly as they watched me try to chase them. I wailed and begged them to pay, but they managed to escape. When I returned to the restaurant, I expected my boss to fire me, but he smiled at me instead. A purely wicked smile.
Don't expect a salary by the end of this month. Their bills will be cleared with your salary.
My heart was shattered. After work that day, I didn't go home straight. I sat by the roadside and cried my eyes out until a kind woman approached me, and she changed my life for good. She owned a restaurant too, and volunteered to let me spend time after school there with her after I told her my story. Life began getting better for me. I quit my job at the first restaurant after the kind woman, whose name was Vera, gave me the money to pay for the good Steven and his friends had eaten. She didn't let me work. Instead, she simply taught me how to cook since I'd requested. She fed me well and even got me a phone. Of course, I hid it from my uncle and Steven. 3 months later, she encouraged me to call my parents and let them know about what was going on. I was able to get their number from Uncle Jack's phone, and when they knew about everything, they couldn't stop apologizing. The first thing they did was to stop sending any money to Uncle Jack. Instead, the woman received the money and took good care of me with it. I didn't let Uncle Jack know, and he was frustrated at my parents' sudden change of behavior. By the end of the year, my parents informed him that they would be coming to take me with them. My uncle became frustrated. He knew he wouldn't get anything from them anymore if I wasn't with him. He tried to stop them.
You don't have to. I'm fine taking care of him. It's just been hard since you stopped sending money, but we're coping well.
My parents didn't listen to him. Their minds were made up. In his desperation to do something to stop me from going with them, he tried to drown me. He took me with him to a nearby river. I had no idea where he was taking me to at first, but I was suspicious. So, I messaged Vera and also turned on my location. I asked her to contact the cops too, because my uncle wasn't trustworthy. Luckily, she sprung into action immediately. My uncle arrived at the river and pulled me with him.
You thought I'd let you go so easily? Let you be the owner of those companies when your parents die? Never. My son and I deserve a good life forever. After killing you here, I'm going to kill your parents too.
I begged him not to do it, but he didn't listen. Just when I saw the cops approaching, alongside Vera, my uncle pushed me, and I fell into the river. I heard a gunshot and saw my uncle fall into the river too. Vera was quick to jump in and pull me out before I could drown. Uncle Jack had tried to run away after he saw the cops, but he got shot in the chest before he could, and that led to his death. My parents returned to America the next day and couldn't stop apologizing to me.
We've been bad parents. We'll do better now. Forgive us, son. We're so sorry we put our jobs before you.
Of course, I forgave them. They weren't bad parents. The only thing they didn't provide was their presence. But I'd even felt that through their video calls. I was happy to reunite with my parents. We returned to Italy after my uncle was buried. Stephen moved in with my grandparents. My parents refused to take care of him, telling the family they were only going to focus on me. Stephen had pulled me to a corner and apologized, begging me to convince my parents to take him with me, but I refused. You don't deserve any good thing from me. You could get a job. Oh, and maybe apply for a scholarship at school because no one will pay your fees anymore. Maybe try to avoid seeing your friends at school because you'll be mocked badly. Remind them to not try apologizing to me. That's if we ever cross paths again. My parents gave Vera enough money to expand her business before we left. I didn't fail to keep in touch with her. I started a new life in Italy, often referred to as my parents' son. Life has been better since then. A few months later, we heard that Stephen had tried, along with some friends, to bully another kid. He got beaten badly and ended up with a split lip. He was also suspended from school for a while. When news of what his dad had done spread around the school, everyone started hating him because his dad was so cruel. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below saying, "I subscribed," and we'll do our best to reply to your comment. My name's Officer Daniel Cole, 20 years in homicide. I've seen murder dressed in every costume, greed, jealousy, revenge, but never have I met evil wearing such a convincing halo. You'd think after 20 years in the force, I'd seen it all. Shootings, stabbings, domestic disputes gone wrong. But the case of Dr. Evelyn Shaw, that one still crawls under my skin. People called her the Angel of Mercy. Sweet old woman with soft eyes, silver hair, and a voice like your favorite grandma's lullaby. Patients adored her, families trusted her, and the hospital board practically worshipped her. But beneath that polished smile was something rotten, something evil. It started small. A few elderly patients dying unexpectedly. Heart failures, strokes, unexplained collapses, all signed off as natural causes. At first, no one blinked. In the geriatric ward, death was common. The staff held little memorials, said a few words, and life moved on. But when too many patients started dying under the same doctor's care, Dr. Shaw's care, some nurses began whispering.
It's strange, isn't it? Mr. Peterson was fine yesterday, stable, even laughing.
And now he's gone. Second one this week after her night shift.
You think she's...
Shh, don't say that. She's been here 30 years. She's a saint.
That's how it starts, always. The disbelief, the denial. Evil rarely looks like a monster. Sometimes it looks like someone's grandmother, carrying a stethoscope. The nurses reported their suspicions to the hospital board, but the administration brushed it off. They called it age-related patterns, stress of terminal care, bad coincidence. Coincidence, my ass. By the time I was called in, 17 patients had died in just 4 months under her supervision. Still, no evidence. The autopsies showed nothing. No trace of poison. No clear cause beyond complications. It was like she was invisible. A ghost with a medical license. When I first met Dr. Shaw, she greeted me with that grandmotherly smile.
Officer Cole, I heard you're investigating my unit. I do hope you're not here to blame me for what nature decides.
Just routine questions, Doctor. You've been here long, haven't you?
32 years. I've dedicated my life to easing suffering.
That's noble.
It's mercy, officer. You'd be surprised how many families beg us to make it quick when their loved ones are suffering. Sometimes I think death is the kindest medicine.
She said it with such calm conviction that it chilled me. Mercy. That word would haunt me later. After months of complaints, the hospital finally suspended her. No charges, just quietly asked her to leave. She walked out with her head high, as if she were the victim. But evil doesn't rest. Within weeks, she faked her resume, altered her medical records, and got hired at another hospital across the state, under the name Dr. Eve Marshall. Same silver hair, same sweet smile, same results. Patients started dying again. This time, the staff didn't stay quiet.
Something's wrong with Dr. Marshall's injections. Every time she's on call, people start coding. But their vitals were fine an hour before.
That's a serious accusation.
Then test her syringes. Test the blood, you'll see.
They didn't die that time. Not all of them, anyway. 2 nurses fell ill after drinking coffee she kindly brought them during a night shift. They vomited, convulsed, but survived. That survival changed everything. When their blood was analyzed, the results shocked the lab. There was a trace of an experimental paralytic compound, a drug that causes the body to shut down completely while keeping the heart rate faintly steady. It metabolizes in hours, untraceable after death. That was her weapon all along. We raided her office. Inside her drawer, we found labeled vials, altered patient charts, and notes written in neat cursive. Peace granted. Painless. Done. It wasn't mercy. It was control. It was godhood. When we cuffed her, she didn't resist. She just looked at me like she pitied me.
You think you're saving people, Officer Cole, but I'm saving them from pain, from you, from this world.
You killed them.
I set them free.
The courtroom was a circus. Families cried. The media called her the mercy killer. Psychologists called her dissociated but brilliant. She served 5 years, pled insanity, got treatment, and was released. That's justice, I guess. Or so I thought. 2 years after her release, I heard rumors. A small-town clinic hired an elderly doctor who seemed heaven-sent. Her paperwork checked out. The clinic's name was Riverside Health Center, and the new doctor's name was Dr. Evelyn Marsh. My gut dropped. She'd done it again, changed one letter, forged documents, and slipped right back into the system. I called the state board, but they said there was no evidence she was the same person. So all I could do was watch until the next body appeared. Except this time, it didn't go the way she planned. Among her new patients was an old Haitian woman named Marie Demoine, 81 years old. Warm smile, bright headscarves, eyes that saw through you. Everyone loved her. When Dr. Shaw gave Marie her nightly sedative, Marie's vitals dropped within minutes. She was dead before the nurse could press the alarm. But something about that death unsettled people. Marie's body was taken for autopsy, and for the first time, someone refused to sign off as natural causes. Her granddaughter demanded a deeper investigation, and I'll never forget what she said.
Grandma told me if she died suddenly not to cry. She said her spirit would handle whoever touched her. She said, no one escapes the hands of the Loe.
I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but I would soon. After Marie's death, strange reports started surfacing. Dr. Shaw began showing up late, forgetting where she parked, talking to herself. One night, a janitor found her trembling in the hallway, staring at her reflection in a glass window. "Doc, you okay?"
They're here.
"Who's here?"
The ones I freed, they're in the glass. Look!
The janitor said she began screaming at her reflection, clawing at the mirror until her hands bled. From then on, the staff avoided her. But she grew worse.
She was in the break room last night, muttering names.
Whose names?
Patients, the ones who died. She kept whispering, "Stop looking at me. Stop looking at me."
You think it's guilt?
Or something else.
The nightmares escalated. She'd wake up with scratches on her arms, say someone was pulling her into the dark. Her housekeeper quit after finding all the mirrors covered with black cloth. But the strangest part came from her own notes. We found them later in her home. Marie's eyes follow me everywhere. They don't sleep. The dead sit in my car's back seat. I see coffins in the mirror. Then came the day she sealed her own fate. She was preparing another injection for a patient, a young man recovering from surgery. But as she drew the fluid into the syringe, she felt something cold behind her. She turned and saw, in the reflection of the metal cabinet, Marie standing there, eyes white, face calm, holding a rosary.
No, not again. Leave me alone.
In her panic, she stumbled and plunged the syringe straight into her own arm. Within minutes, she collapsed. Her body convulsed, her lips trembled, but no sound came out. She was found on the floor, alive but completely paralyzed. She could blink, but nothing else. When I saw her in the care home months later, her hair was wild, her eyes wide. She could only move her eyes, but they darted around like she was watching invisible figures. I leaned close. "You remember me, don't you, doctor?" Her eyes flicked toward me. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Guess Mercy found you after all." A nurse whispered that every night she still tries to scream. They can't sedate her too much because her body reacts violently. Some say she's haunted. Others say it's her mind breaking under guilt. But me? I think Marie kept her promise. The Loa doesn't forget. And now, Dr. Evelyn Shaw, the so-called Angel of Mercy, is trapped in the same suffering she once claimed to end. A body that doesn't move, a voice that can't speak, and eyes that never close because she's too afraid of what she'll see when they do. Funny thing, I visited her room once at night just to be sure the story was real. And I swear, I heard whispering, not from her lips, but around her. A woman's voice, soft and calm.
Mercy granted.
I left that place so fast, I almost forgot my badge. Sometimes justice doesn't come from the courts or the police. Sometimes it comes from something older, deeper, something that waits until evil thinks it's safe again. So next time someone tells you about a kind old doctor who helps people pass peacefully, maybe think twice before thanking her. This story is inspired by true events, though the names, characters, and specific acts of revenge have been fictionalized for dramatic purposes. The real-life doctor behind the inspiration was Dr. Michael Swango, a physician in the United States during the 1980s, known for his involvement in a shocking series of suspicious patient deaths.
We hugged and she poured me a glass of wine. I wanted her to drink too, but she said she would after I finished mine. Well, barely a minute after I emptied the glass, I began to feel dizzy. I turned to my mother-in-law and caught her smiling. Then I knew something was wrong. I watched her stand up and go lock the door. Quickly, I turned on the location of my phone and pushed the phone into my bra. Afterward, I passed out. My mother-in-law went upstairs and packed some of my things. She packed the clothes to make it seem like I left on my own. When Paolo returned home, he was shocked to find the house empty and some of my things gone. I met Paolo when I was in my lowest state. It was the time when I'd just lost my dad and younger brother in a plane crash. Hello, my name is Charlotte. My mom died immediately after my birth, so I didn't know her. My dad and brothers have taken care of me ever since. I had 2 older brothers who were 5 and 3 years older than me, while my younger brother was 5 years younger than me. He was the son of the woman my dad remarried, Marie. Marie didn't let me miss the warmth of a mother for too long. Once she came into our lives, it was like she was our biological mother. She showered love on us and cared for us so much, so we loved her son like he was fully our brother. My dad and elder brothers spoiled me silly. Of course Marie did too, but theirs were top. I went to a great school and I never lacked anything. I was very much loved at home. 2 months after my college graduation, my dad was already speaking to his friends to get me a great place to work. At first, he didn't want me to start working just yet, but after I complained nonstop, he finally gave in. One of his friends found me a spot that wouldn't require me to move too much, and I was so happy. I was to resume in the coming month. My dad and younger brother had traveled for a fashion show a week before my resumption day, and on their way there, the plane crashed, and they both died in it. It was a tough period for me. I was depressed and utterly dejected. My older brothers tried to comfort me and my stepmom, but they were also greatly affected by the deaths. The house grew quiet. I couldn't resume work because I needed to mourn my dad and brother. Luckily, the company didn't mind. They knew my dad, and were also saddened by his death. It was a month after his funeral that I finally resumed work at the company. I hadn't gotten over their death, but my stepmom wasn't any better, and I knew I needed to join my older brothers and be strong for her. On my way back from work every day, I would get her favorite snacks and ensure she ate them. My brothers would bring her flowers every day. The maids also took care of her greatly and ensured there was always someone with her. One day, while at work, I suddenly came across a picture of my brother on my phone, and I broke into tears. I quickly rushed out of my office and went to the restroom to cry. I didn't check which restroom I entered. It turned out that I'd gone into the male restroom. While I was crying, someone suddenly offered me a handkerchief and patted my back gently while I kept crying, until I couldn't cry any longer. He asked what the issue was, and I told him. I could see the sadness in his eyes. He hugged me and assured me that I was going to be fine. I couldn't be more grateful to him as we walked out of the restroom. We exchanged contacts and became friends. As time passed, my mom slowly began getting out of her shell. She got a job at the company my dad worked at before. The CEO absolutely loved my dad. My dad had been his first employee and had helped the CEO take the company to the level it was. As a result, the CEO employed my mom as his personal assistant. He already had one, but he wanted my stepmom to have a spot that would require her to not do anything. All she had to do was show up once a week. It was his way of repaying my dad for his good deeds. Well, as time went on, Paolo and I got closer. Feelings soon grew, and we began dating. I introduced him to my family a few months after we began dating. My brothers and stepmom connected with him quickly. Paolo was a good man, so it wasn't hard to be charmed by his niceness. Since I'd introduced him to my family, I was eager to meet his family too. Paolo seemed to also be eager because 2 weeks later, we were at his parents' house. We were received by his younger sister. With the way she hugged me after Paolo introduced me, I knew he'd talked about me to them, and that made me happy. When we got into the house, we settled on the couch, and his sister quickly went to get his parents. Paolo looked just like his father. The man had a pleasant smile on his face, but I noticed that his mom was frowning as she came to sit. Paolo introduced me to them, and his father seemed even happier. He expressed his excitement to finally meet me as, according to him, Paolo had talked about me every chance he got. His mother was silent throughout. Noticing it, I spoke to her. Hi, ma'am. It's nice to finally meet you. Paolo has told me a lot about you, especially how beautiful you are. I can't deny, you're even more beautiful than I imagined.
Oh, please shut up. What? You think you can charm me with your stupid words? I'm not Paolo, okay? You silly thing.
I was both shocked and confused. What had I done to deserve that? I didn't say anything bad. Neither did I do anything bad.
Mom, you're being disrespectful, and this is unlike you. Charlotte has been so eager to meet you all, and you disrespect her like this?
Yes, because it's what she deserves. She's nothing but a pretender and a prostitute. My son can't marry such a girl over my dead body. He's my only son, for God's sake. He deserves someone richer and more beautiful.
Excuse me? Ma'am, I don't appreciate you using such words with me.
Oh, but isn't it what you are? Look at your tattoos and nose ring. How does that make you any better than street workers?
Shut up, Cecilia. You're being so ridiculous. Tattoos and piercings have nothing to do with one's personality. I can't believe you're saying this, Mom. I feel so ashamed and embarrassed.
The woman didn't stop. She kept calling me all sorts of derogatory names until Paolo took me out of the house. As we left, I heard his father and sister yelling at her. I cried all through the ride home. I felt so angry and embarrassed. Paolo couldn't stop apologizing. I could tell that he was angry too, and that made me feel bad too because I'd made his whole family angry just the first time they met me. I told Paolo how I was feeling, and he quickly killed those thoughts and assured me that I wasn't wrong in any way, and that it was his mother who was completely wrong. He told me how much his mother loved him, and she was scared of losing him to a girl who won't love him like she did, and she will often reject all the girls he will bring home for one reason or another. He promised to get her to apologize to me, but that didn't happen. I visited again but the woman only did worse. This time, she didn't stop laughing at me. Whenever I said anything, she would burst out laughing and say terrible things. I got embarrassed again and left before Paulo. After I reached home, I sent him a breakup text. I couldn't deal with his mother disrespecting me like that. It was too much to swallow. Paulo came to my house, but I refused to see him. For 2 whole weeks, I avoided him like a plague. Well, until my brothers and stepmother spoke to me.
He loves you, Charlotte. He comes here every day. Yesterday, he looked so tired and down, yet he waited for 2 hours, hoping you would agree to see him. Talk things out with him, please.
It took a lot of begging from them before I finally agreed to see him if he came again. Unfortunately, I got a call that night that Paulo had been admitted after he fainted in his office. I immediately rushed there and saw that he had been treated and was asleep. His sister was there and she rushed to me as I walked in, hugging and begging me to forgive her brother. I told her I'd forgiven him and asked her to go home and rest. She thanked me and left. I stayed with Paulo until he woke up, which was the next morning. As soon as he saw me, he began apologizing. I hushed him and told him I forgave him. Well, we went back to dating, but I didn't visit his house again. I called his dad quite often, and his sister always visited me, but I refused to see his mom. Time passed, and it was soon our wedding day after Paulo proposed to me 3 months back. His mother was in attendance, and I caught her laughing at me countless times, but I didn't say anything. I refused to let her ruin my wedding. His sister saw her too, which made her mouth an apology to me every time, but I simply smiled at her to show that I wasn't angry, even though I was. Well, 2 months after Paulo and I got married, she suddenly showed up at my front door. I was surprised to see her. She asked if I wanted to have a drink and a discussion, and even though I felt a bit skeptical about it, I agreed. She came in and pulled out a bottle of wine from her bag.
This is a special wine that was given to me by my mother. I was meant to drink it with my daughter-in-law on her engagement night. I feel ashamed to be here now because I've been nothing but bad to you.
I was shocked.
I'm sorry, Charlotte. You're a good girl, and I'm the bad person for hating you over your tattoos and piercings. Forgive me, please.
I was moved to tears. I loved the woman so much, and all I ever wanted was an apology from her. We hugged, and she poured me a glass of wine. I wanted her to drink too, but she said she would after I finished mine. Well, barely a minute after I emptied the glass, I began to feel dizzy. I turned to my mother-in-law and caught her smiling. Then I knew something was wrong. I watched her stand up and go lock the door. Quickly, I turned on the location of my phone and pushed the phone into my bra. Afterward, I passed out. My mother-in-law went upstairs and packed some of my things. She went to keep them in her car before dragging me out of the house and into her car. She packed the clothes to make it seem like I left on my own. When Paulo returned home, he was shocked to find the house empty and some of my things gone. He called my phone non-stop, but I didn't pick up because it was on silent mode and I was still unconscious. The next day, after I was still not home or answering my call, my husband went to the cops to report me missing. Paulo, my stepmother, brother, father-in-law, and sister-in-law were all scared and worried. Luckily, they were able to connect to my location using Paulo's phone, and they found where I was. All this time, my mother-in-law was pretending to be worried too. My mother-in-law found my phone on me, realized the cops would track it and discover my location, and quickly put me in her car and drove off. Luckily, the cops followed her without her knowing. She drove to the mountainside and dragged me on the floor to the top of the mountain. Just before she could push me off, the cops came. She wasn't scared, so she pushed me, but she got shot in the back at the same time she pushed me, which led to her falling with me. We were both rushed to the hospital. Fortunately for me, the fall wasn't severe, so my injuries were mild. However, my mother-in-law got a broken spine from the gunshot and a permanently fractured knee from the fall. As a result, she had to go to jail on a wheelchair. Her daughter and husband didn't feel bad for her. According to her daughter, she was limited to so many things because of her mother's judgmental attitude and didn't have a nice relationship with the woman. Both my husband and his family kept apologizing to me even after I told them I held no grudges against them. As for my mother-in-law, imagine life in a horrible jail while being on a wheelchair. She lived a terrible life there, and she deserved it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment. When our son Lucas was diagnosed with autism at age 2, Nathan's mask fell completely.
Figures. My son isn't even normal. You know what people are going to say? That I passed down bad genes. That I made a defective kid. Great. Just great.
Don't you dare call him that. He's not defective. He's different. And he's beautiful.
Beautiful? What? When he sits there flapping his hands like a bird? Or when he screams in public? Yeah, real beautiful, Marissa.
Every insult was a dagger to my heart. He didn't just mock Lucas, he mocked me.
This is your fault. You wanted this kid so badly. And now look, what kind of mother gives birth to a broken child?
I held Lucas tighter that night, silently promising him I'd protect him, no matter what. Nathan's cruelty only escalated. When Lucas refused certain textures of food, Nathan would shove a plate in front of him and sneer.
Eat it or starve. I don't care. Maybe hunger will fix whatever's wrong in your head.
Sometimes when Lucas tried to line up his toy trains, Nathan would kick them across the floor.
Oops. Guess your little obsession doesn't matter now. Welcome to the real world, kid.
My name is Marissa, and if someone had told me years ago that the man I loved would become my greatest enemy, I would have laughed in their face. But love has a cruel sense of humor. It makes you blind, and when the scales finally fall off, the truth cuts deeper than a knife. When I first met Nathan, he was charming. The kind of man who could walk into a crowded room and make everyone turn their head. He made me feel special, chosen. We dated for a year, married the next, and before long, I was pregnant. I thought I was living in a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't last. The day I gave birth was the day my marriage truly ended. The nurses placed my baby boy in my arms. He was small, fragile, but perfect to me. His eyes flickered around the room, and even though his cries were soft, I felt like the universe itself was singing. But Nathan didn't smile.
He looks off.
What do you mean, off? He's our son, Nathan.
He doesn't even cry like a normal baby. God, Marissa, what's wrong with him?
At first, I thought it was stress. Some men panic after childbirth, I told myself. But as the months went by, his disgust grew. When our son Lucas was diagnosed with autism at age 2, Nathan's mask fell completely.
Figures. My son isn't even normal. You know what people are going to say? That I passed down bad genes. That I made a defective kid. Great. Just great.
Don't you dare call him that. He's not defective. He's different. And he's beautiful.
Beautiful? What? When he sits there flapping his hands like a bird? Or when he screams in public? Yeah, real beautiful, Marissa.
Every insult was a dagger to my heart. He didn't just mock Lucas, he mocked me.
This is your fault. You wanted this kid so badly. And now look, what kind of mother gives birth to a broken child?
I held Lucas tighter that night, silently promising him I'd protect him, no matter what. Nathan's cruelty only escalated. When Lucas refused certain textures of food, Nathan would shove a plate in front of him and sneer.
Eat it or starve. I don't care. Maybe hunger will fix whatever's wrong in your head.
Sometimes when Lucas tried to line up his toy trains, Nathan would kick them across the floor.
Oops. Guess your little obsession doesn't matter now. Welcome to the real world, kid.
And one night, when Lucas had a meltdown after fireworks outside our window, Nathan shouted so loudly that neighbors knocked on the door.
Shut him up, Marissa. I can't stand his screaming. If he can't act normal, maybe he doesn't belong here.
I remember standing there, covering Lucas's ears while he sobbed, praying the noise of Nathan's rage wouldn't break him completely. At family gatherings, Nathan would humiliate us both.
Don't expect grandkids from me anymore. With my luck, the next one would probably be worse than this one.
Or in public when Lucas had meltdowns.
Ignore him. It's just the circus act again.
I stayed for my son. I stayed because I didn't want Lucas to grow up without a father. But one morning, Nathan solved that problem himself. I woke up to find his side of the bed cold. On the kitchen counter was a letter. Don't look for me. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. Life with you and that kid isn't life at all. Consider me dead. Nathan. At first, I thought he meant suicide, but when I checked our bank account, everything was gone. Every last dollar we had saved. He hadn't died. He had run. For 3 years, I raised Lucas alone. I worked 2 jobs, fought through tears and exhaustion, and did everything Nathan swore I couldn't. Lucas grew, laughed, learned. He loved trains, puzzles, and, God bless him, he loved me. One night, while scrolling through social media, I froze. There he was, Nathan, alive. A photo of him lounging at a beachside bar in Mexico, sunglasses on, drink in hand, surrounded by women. The caption read, "Life is good when you leave your problems behind." My blood boiled. Problems? We were your family, Nathan. Your son is not a problem. That night, I made a decision. If he thought he could abandon us and live happily ever after, he had another thing coming. I spent months planning, researching. I knew revenge had to be more than just finding Nathan. It had to destroy him from the inside. If he wanted to play with dangerous men, I'd make sure they saw him as the ultimate threat, a rat. Through an old college friend who now lived in Tijuana, I learned the truth. Nathan wasn't just sipping margaritas on beaches. He was knee-deep in cartel business, dabbling in low-level smuggling, sometimes even drugs. That explained the sudden money, the cars, the clubs. He thought he was invincible. You picked the wrong game, Nathan, and I'm about to change the rules. I built the setup carefully, slowly. First, I dug through my old boxes of photos. There was one of Nathan at a 4th of July BBQ, chatting with my cousin Michael, who just happened to be a cop in uniform. They weren't close, it was just a party snapshot. But cropped the right way, it looked like a meeting. I scanned it, blurred the background, and made it look grainy, like it had been taken secretly. Then I found old bank statements from when we were married. Nathan had transferred money between our joint account and a savings account in the US. To me, it was normal banking. But if you didn't know, it looked like someone hiding money, laundering it. I doctored the statements, adding notes in Spanish. Oculto and USA, hidden in the USA. It looked like Nathan was keeping cartel money out of reach. Finally, I created fake WhatsApp screenshots. Using a burner phone and editing apps, I made it seem like Nathan was messaging someone named DEA contact. The conversations were short, but damning. Got more info on the shipments? We'll send tonight. Keep my family safe. I'm risking everything here. I saved the chats as images, changed the timestamps, and packaged them with the photo and bank records. Then came the delivery. I mailed a thick envelope, no return address, to a bar in Cancun I knew the cartel used as a hangout. Inside, the photo, the bank statements, the fake chats. On the outside, I scribbled one line. Your gringo friend is not what he seems. I didn't sleep for days after sending it. My nerves burned. What if they traced it back to me? What if they didn't believe it? Then the news hit. A neighbor of Nathan's in Playa del Carmen reported seeing a black SUV screech to a stop outside his rental home. 4 masked men jumped out. Nathan was dragged into the street in his shorts, shouting, begging. They beat him with the butts of their rifles before shoving him into the vehicle. The whole thing took less than a minute. I found a shaky cell phone video online. In it, you could hear Nathan screaming.
No, I swear I'm not a cop. I swear, please.
The video ended with the SUV door slamming. Reports trickled in. Nathan was being held somewhere in the jungle. Locals whispered that he was being questioned, which was cartel code for something darker. Days later, I got a photo slipped into my mailbox. Nathan, tied to a chair, shirt ripped, bruises blooming across his body. A sign hung around his neck. RATA. His eyes were wide, terrified. I stared at it for a long time, then tucked it away in a drawer. Now you know what it feels like to be powerless. For years, he mocked our son, calling him broken. Now he was the broken one, in the hands of men who didn't forgive. And the best part? They'd never know I had pulled the strings. So in the end, Nathan provided for Lucas after all, just not in the way he expected. Now Lucas is 9. He still loves trains, still laughs at the simplest joys, and still clings to me like his safe place. Every time I see his smile, I know I made the right choice. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, patient, and precise. And sometimes it leaves your enemy begging for mercy in a place where mercy doesn't exist. But me, I have my son, and that's enough. So yeah, my husband faked his death, fled to Mexico, and ended up kidnapped by a cartel because I set him up. Guess you could say marriage really kidnapped his happiness. Get it? Kidnapped? Okay, that was bad. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe or I might have to send the cartel after you.